I wanted to talk a little bit about designing the hairline. I think it's probably quite a big thing to kind of think about, quite an exciting thing as well to think about what your new hairline's going to look like. There's a few considerations and things that obviously I wasn't aware of before I actually sort of flew out to Turkey and had my hair done. And mainly, really, what they tend to do is they'll look at your head shape and they'll look at where a natural hairline should be. And I think that's obviously the right way to go about it. You don't want something that looks completely false, or you don't want them to overdo it. Because then it's just going to stand out, and also people can just tell it's not a natural hairline. So I was really quite pleased with my my hairline. I do have naturally quite a big forehead anyway. I think it's more common these days, like sort of modern hairstyles. People seem to want them lower down on the forehead. So people, you might be thinking, well, I want it like kind of quite low down, to kind of shrink the forehead and just have more hair coverage across the front of your head. But actually there's problems with doing that, and basically what they tend to do is they will look at, if you raise your eyebrows and you look in the mirror, you'll see obviously lots of creases where you've got muscles, and they don't want to be putting the grafts into those areas where you've got natural creases and muscles. So they'll ask you to sort of like be raising your eyebrows as they look at the shape of your head, and they'll have a look at where a natural hairline should look. So that's why they draw the hairline the way they do. Now, if you are super keen and really insistent on having it maybe a little bit lower, you might be able to speak to them about it. I mean, obviously, you can have a conversation with them and talk to them about what it is that you want. If you feel like there's something that you want them to know, but really what they're doing is they're looking at the shape of your head and finding the most natural hairline for you that will look great, but also won't look too kind of fake ultimately. So with my head specifically, you can see here I'd receded an awful lot at the front, and they'll also talk about different zones as well that need the hair transplant. So like my zone like 1 and 2 had basically gone completely. Zone 3 was thinning, but zone 4, which is like the back and the top and the scalp, here you can see my crown is good, and around the top is good as well. So for me, it was all about basically the front and getting, stopping me looking like this and get me looking more like I look now. So for me, it was very much the focus was on the front of the head, working those first 2 zones. Now, obviously, everyone watching this video, you're going to be at a very different stage, and you're going to have a differing amount of hair loss. So I just want to explain real quick that if you've got not a lot of hair loss, so you're just starting to recede maybe from the front, then they'll probably just do that area and maybe add in a bit more just to give you a bit more thickness on the front as well, because obviously you may continue to recede. If you've got sort of full baldness, so even more extreme than mine was, i.e. like you've got it around the crown as well, so all the way perhaps along the top of the head and around the crown area as well, they'll probably look at that as two separate treatments. And I actually met someone while I was out there I was speaking to who was going back for his second one because he had extensive balding right the way across the top of his head and the crown area as well. So what they tend to do, the way they tend to do it, is they'll do the front section first. So that'd be similar to what I had. So they'll do the first section. I'll show you here the results of mine here. You can probably see more easily here, you see, where I've had the actual grafts put in. So they do it thickly across the front, and then they sort of then fade it in and do more gradually as you go towards the back. So if you are in need of 2, they'll do the front section, as you can see in this picture. They'll do that section first, and then you need to wait a year for it to fully heal and recover, and for that to have taken hold and be looking good. And then you go back and you have a second transplant. Now, my understanding is that you pay twice if that's your situation. So you pay the full amount for the first package and your first hair transplant, wait a year, and then you pay for the second one as well. For most people, they'll probably be similar sort of situations to me where they need one. Even if you might have good hair at the front, but you might be balding around the crown, that will just be one procedure. But obviously, you can speak to the clinic about that. But I just wanted to explain, for much larger areas, then it will be needing 2 procedures. In terms of the number of grafts that I had 3,800 grafts put in. I had a really good donor area around the back, so they were really sort of confident that I'd get a good sort of yield or harvest out the back and in the donor area. And so, I had a really good number of grafts. And so, for me, I just felt it was exceptional value because it would have cost me an absolute fortune to have done that in the UK. So that's basically how the hairline is designed and what they're looking for. You can speak to the clinic beforehand, you can get an idea of what yours might be, but mainly for me, I was just sort of booked the consultation and then discussed the hairline that I wanted on the morning of the actual procedure. And even if you had some calls before and you change your mind, obviously you've got right up until the point where they start the work on the day of the procedure to actually sort of talk to them about it. So there's plenty of opportunity to understand what they're going to do and also to give feedback and input depending on what it is that specifically that you need to do, because obviously everyone's head is different, everyone's head shape's different, everyone's potential hairline is different, everyone's image of what they want it to look like is also slightly different as well. So they understand that, and you'll have plenty of opportunity to sort of discuss it with them and understand what it is that they're going to actually do with your hair and your procedure.